We are. Barb?
Okay. Tom?
Yep.
Sherry?
Yep.
Beth?
Yep.
Barb, here. Larry? KK?
Here.
Bernie?
Here.
Richard?
Here.
Tandra?
Here.
Jason?
Here.
Linda?
Here.
Annette?
Here.
Sean?
Excused.
Okay. Chris?
Here.
Okay.
All right, looking over March's minutes. Is there any corrections, deletions?
I move we approve.
First by Bernie, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Beth, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Old business. Sandra, you're up first, it looks like.
Okay, so youth programming updates. Midtown Supper Club's sixth fundraiser event was very, very successful. It was a great, when you looked around the room and just saw people from all walks of life and all ages, and they all came to support the kids in the sixth year of that program. We raised, I don't know if you have those numbers, Linda, but it was a really nice event. And I've already got the theme for next year, but I'm not telling yet.
What is it?
I can't tell you. But it's going to be another awesome one. I'm going to submit in October for this season 6 to possibly be in the running for another Best of the Best programs in the state of Ohio through Oprah. Spring Break Camp was another very successful event. We have our normal, 100 kids max, about 70, 80 kids show up during spring break between 10 and 2 for the 4 days. And on the last day, we collaborated with the Minority Health Task Force to do a wrap-up event where there were, I think, like 20 organizations that set up in the second half of that day in the gymnasium with kid-friendly activities. And it was pretty amazing. We got a lot of good reports about how well mannered our children were that go to our camps. And, because there were no parents with them, that they went around with a passport to each one of these tables. And they did that, they were kind of conditioned to behave, and they know how to. We got some good kids. I'll just say that. We got some really good kids. And so the booth people were pretty surprised that these are kindergarten through 8th grade kids that had no adult supervision traveling through the gym doing these activities. And I think we'll probably collaborate with them more because it got better. It got better. I'll just say that. But yeah, those are the updates for what we got going on right now.
Annette?
Golf course opened April 1st. Currently, we have 66 season pass holders. Our Wednesday night link begins May 1st. I have set the youth summer golf camps. Those are all set. I did give each and every one of you a revenue report so far, and obviously April, and I ran it this morning at about 8 o'clock. We were just about at $11,000, which isn't bad because we haven't had the best of weather. We lost 3 days last week because we had 6 inches of rain. Fortunately, we are caught up with mowing. We had to say goodbye to our old faithful tractor. It was a 1968 tractor, and the transmission went, so it's dead. So we are getting the blue tractor, so we have a new tractor coming. So no, new to us, not new coming back to us. So that's what we cut our fairways with. So we have that. Just an update on the H2O Ohio water grant. That should be getting ready to go out for proposal. Bree Holman from Erie Soil and Water is handling that. Once that comes back, we will go ahead and, as a group, be able to review it with that. So that's coming forth. Update on the cart path, because we have had such a wet winter and spring, we will push that back until after our city tournament, and then we will install the cart path then.
Any questions?
Questions?
Okay.
Jason?
Sandusky events. For some reason, Mother Nature gave us 3 to 4 or 5 days of pretty good weather. Actually, just only the 3, the Saturday, Sunday, Monday of the eclipse that we planned for about a year, over a year of planning went into the total eclipse of Sandusky Festival. We had, I don't know what the last count was, but thousands of people downtown. You made the paper, I think, Sherry, a picture of you and the family down there for the events. Saturday was surprisingly warm. It was only supposed to be in the 40s, and I think it got, I was in a t-shirt, I think, by the end of the day. And then Sunday's weather was decent, and then Monday, if you were, I mean, everyone probably knows exactly where they were when the eclipse happened. It was amazing to see, and just to be able to share that with so many people. I think everybody will remember where they were on the day when they looked up and saw that happen for 3 minutes. So a year plus of planning for 3 minutes went really great, and big thanks to everyone that helped get that event out there and off the ground, and also big thanks to Mother Nature for, I guess, not showing up how she can do in April, and she's doing right now. We will start planning for the next one in 2099, sometime in 2097. So hopefully, yeah, everyone's ready for that planning to start. We learned a lot, but thanks for everybody who attended and for support. Tandra has a couple events coming up, and she's next on the agenda.
Oh, yeah, so Juneteenth, I'm almost, I've probably got about 5 other vendors who are bringing their apps and their fees over for the vendor piece, and then the food truck options. I'm all set with those as well. Everything's going right on cue. Trying to get that confirmed and locked in before, so we can put that flyer out next month. So it's within the next 2 weeks, the flyer will be coming out, and everything will be confirmed and locked in. I'm really excited about this one. We've got, of course, our youth talent in the city will be on the stage, and then we have another guest performances from a troupe out of Cleveland that's going to be doing a pretty impactful skit or play, I guess you could call it. It's a little longer than a skit. And then we have the Lang Trust kickoff concert would be Forever Motown, and followed by our fabulous fireworks at 9 dusk. Right?
9 dusk.
9 dusk. And that is Juneteenth. I have Community Collaboration Day slated for, usually it is the last day of the summer park program, summer break camp program, but I am, we pushed it back due to some things that are coming down the pipeline, so we pushed it back to the 16th, which is a Friday, August 16th. And with that being pushed back, I was contacted by Mr. Rambler, and I met with him and KK, and it only makes sense to try to incorporate a back-to-school type rally-ish type of thing on that day. So I think that's a great collaboration with Father's Heart, Sandusky City Schools, and again, as I mentioned earlier about the Minority Health Task Force, they did such a wonderful job and had some really cool giveaways, except for the stickers. We don't do stickers at middle school anymore. No stickers. They stick to the floor and they stick to the wall, so we don't like that part. But other than that, this is going to be a great day. We'll block off from Pierce all the way down to Perkins, have it's just gonna be a great day, August 16th, from 1 to 5, I think we talked, but we'll all get together and brainstorm how we wanna play this day out, and I think this is gonna, I think, KK, you talking about like 500 backpacks?
Filled with school supplies.
Filled with school supplies, and I think this would be a great opportunity for Southside to get a lot of people over there, and it's gonna be a great day. Moving on to OGO Summer Park collaboration, I've always collaborated with OGO, Kendra and Christine and Jill, but we thought about, we're going to program for 8 weeks this summer, the Foxborough Park for sure. But we are going to do a traveling party at the park passport type deal with OGO for each park, for 8 parks, which will be Foxborough, Farwell, Orlando Pace, Huron, Lyons, Central, Whiteman, Weber. I got one more.
Wilbert?
Dorn.
Who?
Dorn.
Mm-mm. It's another park.
Everybody guess. Huron?
Who?
You said Huron already.
Aaron?
Yep, said that one.
Schaefer?
Nope, I like Schaefer Park though, but it's not that one. It might be Wilbur, possibly.
Okay.
But anyway,
You win.
that's what we're doing for the 8 weeks, and we'll have a traveling staff team that'll be there for the week of that, and then have a big party with OGO. That's the plan.
Skipped over summer break camp.
Summer break camp, how could I skip over summer break camp? Okay, so it'll be ready to launch, it's already, the registration is ready to just hit the button and go live. We have zero problems filling up 100 kids in our camps and after-school programs. So that is gonna be coming out probably in May, because our last day will be the 23rd of May for the out-of-school program, and the summer break camp and summer park program starts June 10th. So if you're listening and watching, keep your eye on the Sandusky Rec Facebook page and get your kiddos signed up. Got a lot of great new things coming, and some of our old relationships are coming back with new stuff. But yeah, it's gonna be a great camp, as always. That's it.
Okay.
Any questions?
Anything else on our old business?
Well, we
that was
kind
new
of went into
business.
new, we went
That's
straight
new
from
business.
old.
Okay, so we just went through, okay.
So parks and facilities.
Yeah, okay, you're up.
Parks and facilities updates, I got a couple things, I'm sure maybe Annette has something
Yep.
too. But the docks went in, Shelby Street Boat Launch docks went in Monday. They found some issues with one of the gangways that they're going to repair and hopefully have that in by Friday. So that was one update I had for the docks. And they will be, at some point soon, replacing the hoops at Farwell Park. And we'd like to resurface that hopefully by this summer's resurfacing. We're resurfacing those courts, and I've been working with Dr. Kuntz on a couple of cleanups in those areas back behind Farwell Park and back behind Orlando Pace Park. So we're working on that and hopefully maybe get some resurfacing done at Orlando Pace Park too. So some cool stuff going on. And Annette?
So we've been working on, with our priority use agreements. Currently, we have already prepped Kiwanis and 3 fields at Dorn. We have on the docket to be prepped, obviously weather dependent. We have the other 4 fields at Dorn, Huron Park, and AMVETS. So we are working on that. Chris and I have been working on AMVETS. We do have a mound to replace on I never know which field that is. The field,
Erie Blacktop?
Erie Blacktop Field. So we have that, we just got all our materials, and for that, we'll get that replaced. And then obviously, I have my seasonal mowers are back. So we're starting to get in that routine where the big equipment, the bigger ones, they'll be out mowing with those. I did get word from Century Equipment that the Toro tractor is ready to ship, and we should have that, they should have it in their possession May 7th, and we should have it by the 14th. So the 5910 is in transit, so that's pretty exciting news. So what we're going to do with the 5910 is we will be using it, not in addition to the parks, we will also be cutting fairways at the golf course on Mondays and Fridays with it, so.
Using that mower as much as we can.
We are. And also, Chris and I are we're going to do an assessment on our facilities. We do have to replace in the Sandusky softball field, we have to replace the roof. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a list so that we have everything on file, any repairs, anything that may need to be done. So we're going to try to get that, if it's not too wet, tomorrow. If not, we're going to work on that next week.
Any questions on new business?
I wanted to take some time out just to thank you, Jason, for following up about those parks. I know that sometimes it takes a little while to get folks on the same page, but based on what I'm seeing out there, the sooner the better. And we have some things in the works in terms of with trying to reach out to Orlando Pace, hopefully letting him know in advance when the cleanup day is, right? And when First Energy will be working to try to clear out that area that's really bad over there with those downed trees. Looks like a storm hit it. Anytime I see a place that looks like can cause some other problems because it's so dense, then I'm trying to clear it out, trying to find a way to clear it out. So I appreciate you doing that, getting that work done. So
They had the Gentlemen's Club over here one time on Pierce Street, and one of the side streets, and it went all the way back. Oh, my gosh. They had those guys in there trying to clean all that out. It was bad back in there.
yeah.
And you had brought up the cleanup date. May 18th is Orlando Pace Park. That's the Love Where You Live cleanup dates. There's a whole list of them. I can email them out to the entire board. But May 18th is the one for Orlando Pace Park, which is also what
Kids
Fest. So Kids Fest is also listed at the bottom here for volunteer opportunities if anybody has time on that day, or even the cleanup day. It's early in the morning, 9 o'clock for that. So do both. Show up for both.
Yeah. I plan to get out to Sunnyside and talk to some folks over there so we can get some representation, some folks who actually want to come out there and help clean up at that park area. So along with hopefully First Energy. Maybe
Right.
they can make it happen on that day too.
Yeah.
And not to forget, we have our dump day.
I was just going to say that.
This Saturday, Shelby Street Boat Launch,
From 9
8 a.m. to
8
11 a.m.
a.m. till
to
11.
Are the docks in?
I said that.
You just said, I missed it.
8 a.m. till
I missed it. Thank
Started
God.
Monday.
Monday.
There's a repair that needs to be made. Then the rest, I think it's the courtesy dock, will be in on Friday.
By Friday, yeah. I heard that.
Is there a list of what you can't take to dump day somewhere? Where is that at?
It's on the website.
City's Facebook page as well. The city's
Okay.
Facebook page. Or something.
All right, anything I don't open? Jim? See you back there sitting.
Patiently.
Also, make sure you sign in. I don't know if you could, the sign-in sheet was up. Yeah.
When I leave.
When you-
Yep. Tim Schwanger, Sandusky, homegrown resident. A couple of questions here I have on my phone is, the golf course opened January 1st, or I'm sorry, April 1st? And the water was turned on at that time, or has the water been turned on prior to that?
The water is not on yet.
Okay.
For the irrigation system, the
For the
clubhouse
irrigation.
always
Well,
has
for
water.
the clubhouse.
Clubhouse always has
Oh,
water.
yeah.
It's
We
never
have
running.
water year-round.
Oh, you do? Okay, your water year-round, okay. Haven't heard anything about any professional fishing tournaments coming to Sandusky this year. Do we have anything coming, or?
I just counted, there's 15 tournaments. First one's going to be May 4th. I don't know if that one's probably not considered a professional one, but there's 15 tournaments throughout the
Okay.
season.
Okay. Continuing on the boat ramp, it's typically, I believe, Jason can correct me if I'm wrong, typically the city tries to put the ramp docks in mid-April, I believe.
Anywhere weather dependent. It's anywhere from the last week in March through the second week in April. I've looked at the dates when they've gone in,
Okay, so it looked like this year, they probably could have gone in March. And what has happened here is, this past weekend, there was a major national walleye tournament that was stationed out of Port Clinton. Okay, so that's where they put their boats in, that's where they checked out, that's where they checked in. But a lot of these guys and their families come the Tuesday before the actual tournament to do what they call pre-fish. They'll fish Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, I believe maybe even Sunday is the actual tournament. So with our ramp docks not being in this past weekend, we lost out on a lot of money. The restaurants lost a lot of money. Like I said, families come with them. So in the future, if we could try to get those docks in on a schedule, end of March, depending upon the weather. And I've talked to the guy that runs the boat ramp. He is happy with those docks being put in April 1st or sooner, again, weather dependent. There was not that much ice this year. I'm an ice fisherman, and I got to tell you, I didn't ice fish at all this year. So the bay was pretty much open, or not safe, all winter. If we have the water on at the golf course, at the building all year long, there's no reason why we can't have the water on at the boat ramp in a timely fashion. And I'm talking about the building. I'm not-
There's a reason. There are different water lines that come in.
Correct.
It's not deep enough to,
Where would it freeze? If they keep the water flowing, where would it freeze? In the building or outside the building?
In the golf course?
No,
At
at
the
the
boat launch.
boat, I'm on the boat launch.
I'm not the Shelby Street
from what I've been
person.
told, and this is coming from the water department, we have to winterize that building because
Correct.
of the way that the water lines are situated.
I think they're not deep enough,
Right.
is what they explained to us.
Okay, which takes you through the entire winter, I understand that,
They
but
actually had issues, and I don't want to speak over you, but they did
That's
have
right.
issues when they didn't winterize it soon enough in November, December, and they had issues with a freeze that caused some damage to the,
and that's perfectly acceptable, but again, if the docks can be put in at the end of March, you have to have sustained, 20-degree below for that to freeze. So if we can put the ramps in, the docks at the ramp in end of March, we can turn the water on the end of March because the building is heated. The restrooms aren't heated, but the vendor said that he can put a heater in the bathroom. Again, and this is something that we go through every year. It's like the city's on a schedule, Mr. Cromer's on a schedule, and we're following the schedule, and this is something that maybe needs to be a moving schedule, okay, in the future.
and I would say, we are hoping for a solution, and that's what we want to look to during this year, is a solution where we have a year-round option, or at least a longer-term option for the docks, because right now, you can't leave them in all year round because of a nor'easter or the ice that might hit them.
Oh, sure.
We're seeing warmer months going into November, we're seeing warmer months coming into March, so we want to have them in, we want to provide
Yeah.
that, but I can't speak to the water side of things. That building's been there for a long time.
So
and
is this a reoccurring problem? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like sometimes they're in by April 15th, sometimes later, sometimes maybe a week before that. But again, it's one of those, I haven't been able to ice fish in the bay since probably 1982. We don't have the cold winters that we used to have. And I understand shutting the water off the entire winter, but we've had nice weather. I mean, 32-degree weather is not going to freeze pipes. I'm not a plumber, but I do know that pipes don't freeze at 32 degrees unless unless it's a sustained 2-week 32-degree weather. I mean,
Well, I was just going to say, for this year, these guys were working really hard for the solar eclipse also, the same people that probably would help put the docks in.
It's
I mean,
not related to that.
all
I mean,
separate?
No,
Had
we
nothing
have,
to do
because
with it? It's okay.
the issue with, and I don't want to get too far into it, but to let the Recreation Board know, the vendor that we have that comes in and puts in the docks has to bring a barge in to do that, and conditions have to be right for him to bring the barge over to then be set up to then drop the docks in and get them all set up. Caps have to be removed from the posts that are in the water. The fire department has to be alerted to do that. So there's a process to it. It's just sometimes we have better weather at the end of March, and we're able to schedule that for, a window of time to do that. Sometimes we have weather like this and we can't.
So it's totally a weather-related issue.
Pretty
Weather-
pretty
I would argue
much.
Weather and
Yeah,
we're
pretty-
dependent on another company, so.
Depending
we'll
on-
just do our
Yeah.
best to contact that company.
Yeah, and we have a
sooner and
three-year
let them
agreement.
know.
We have a 3-year agreement now with the vendor that comes in and does that. So now we have a little bit better flexibility of get them in, take them out, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, and then I think we heard earlier, I don't know if you all caught it or not, but they found an issue recently with the courtesy docks. Something's broke, okay? And that's something, again, that probably should have been done last year at the end of the year. When you take them out, you inspect them, and then you fix them so they're ready to go for the next year. That's just common sense. I mean, that's just common sense. So, it's too late for this year, but maybe next year we can put it in our minds that when we take those docks out, we better inspect them, fix them so they're ready to go in a timely fashion for the next year. Now, one thing that could really cure all this issue with when are the docks going to be put in is if this committee and/or the rec department and the other departments say, hey, let's try to find some money to put in a permanent concrete dock so that we can use that ramp all year long for anybody that wants to ice fish, boat. It takes all this up in the air stuff out of the equation. I know that Huron they have their boat ramp, they've had their docks in for a couple, 2 or 3 weeks, but they also have a concrete dock that the fishermen can use and have used all year long. Don't know what the cost is. I'm not a concrete expert, but that's why we have city staff. That would take care of that problem.
That's
There you go,
what I
Jason.
mentioned. That's what I mentioned, is that we are looking for a long-term
Yeah.
solution.
Well, yeah, well, that's
And we
fine.
really can't
We
compare.
did write a grant for that, but did not receive the funding.
Okay.
So we have attempted to write a grant, and included in that grant was the replacement of that building as well.
Okay.
And we did not receive it. It was from Department of Natural Resources.
So maybe you need to, and again, I'm not a professional on this, but can you separate those two and try to get,
That's what we're kind of looking at, what we
Okay.
can do for the
okay.
long term. But I wouldn't, you can't
Can't.
compare the Huron River dock with Sandusky Bay because they're just two totally separate bodies of water where
Well, no, actually, it's water dependent too. I mean, they don't, I mean, weather dependent. So it is it's not identical, because it's not on the lake, but the river freezes just like the bay does. The other thing is on the 2024 special event calendar, and I've talked about this before here, and you do have some of the calendars out there on the desk. You guys have them all in front of you. What are we doing to get those out into the community besides having it online, where people have to go online to find out what's going on? The reason why I ask that is because, I'll give you an example. Toff's Dairy has one of those tourism kiosks, and there's a lot of stuff on that kiosk that has nothing to do with the city of Sandusky. But we don't have any of our flyers in that kiosk.
Well, a while ago, we had one. We had little flyers. They were little cardboard flyers. I still have mine. And they were all over everywhere that had these kind of things in it. It started when we started working with the marina.
Right.
And that came in then.
Well, see, go ahead.
As far as distribution is concerned for those, we.
Had all the restaurant cards. It
Oh,
had
I don't know
everything.
about
No, you
those.
weren't around then.
But the ones that we have right now, we make them available here. We go to a lot of the downtown businesses. I even stop at Sherry's and drop some off over there. We had, during the Eclipse event, we had ambassadors that were handing them out to people as they came up. We also, they're in the Shores and Islands Visitor Center. They go through a lot of them there.
If we could come
Sandusky
up with-
Library has them on the counters
Could we
there.
come up with some money to where we could put the local downtown?
Well, the distribution, from what Tim's saying about the Toffs, like, that's a privately aggregated, you have to pay to play on a lot of that stuff, and it's
Yeah, he
not
came-
just in those
He
places.
came to me for me to do it, but I didn't have a big enough hallway to set
Right,
it.
but we definitely hit them as much as we can throughout the entire, whatever businesses will accept them throughout the downtown, but the Shores and Islands goes through the most, library's probably second with them because they.
Okay, well, that's good to hear, because I think mentioned the same thing last year, and it was, they didn't want to mass produce these because it costs, costs money. So it's good to see that we're distributing them now. On the Whiteman Weber Fest, you're looking for volunteers. I know in the past I volunteered for parking. Is that something you're going to need again this year with?
I can't even, he's coming up with a map of the layout. I don't even, how do you get into Battery Park now? Is it still?
Right there at the-
Two entrances still
Yeah.
like it was, or was one taken away?
Yeah, I think we directed people to the tennis court entrance there and to come in from the police side, because I think Lions Club was
So
out there as well.
everybody's coming in down there.
We have a meeting today, after this, a Whiteman Weber Kids Fest meeting, that one of us will be at, and we can ask them and put your
I
name down.
think we were
if you
waiting
would
on
be willing.
Jason to come up with some blueprints
Yeah.
of stuff.
There is an entrance now. They moved it north. It's right at the corner. And then the other entrance, I haven't been down that way for a week, but the other entrance he's talking about down by the police station is stone. It doesn't- you
That's what
can't-
I was,
You can't even really tell it's an entrance. I don't even know if that many people use that or not, but, all right, well, hey.
Thank you though.
Sorry for, 5 minutes, 10.
while we're on the subject of the Whiteman Weber, they're texting me back and forth. I don't know if you're getting it too.
Yeah, power.
But it said the lights might be out at Mill School. Do you know? if-
Yeah,
Yeah, we're-
I'm working on
Adjusting
that
that
now.
now.
Because they're out at Faith's house.
That's all I had. Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I had something, since we're on open discussion, and it's related to the calendar that Tim just talked about. I'm curious, as a new commissioner, about the process for actually determining who's coming, right? Whether we're talking about April or we're talking about the summertime. And so if, it's not a conversation that we have to have now, but if anybody is able to, Jason or anybody else wants to try to give me a little bit of information about, because I'm having this understanding that the rec department, GSP, Steve Ernst, what's the budget, right? I just need to know all those things and have a better understanding of how we determine who's responsible for bringing an act here during eclipse, who's responsible for bringing acts here during the summertime. Is there collaboration? Are there other opportunities available to actually add some funds along with the city funds that come from our partners, whether that's businesses, whether that's trusts and foundations, to bring, just maybe a slight bit higher level of entertainment at various times, right? I know the budget can be tight sometimes, but I don't see any reason why we couldn't bring in some other acts sometimes, as opposed to just always maybe a tribute band. But I would know more if I knew a little bit more about how that process works.
Sure. Short answer right now is we had a committee for the total eclipse and it was similar to the committee that we had with Destination Sandusky because part of the pier is now Destination Sandusky putting that on. So we did have committees on and had meetings on who to bring in and,
Who is Destination Sandusky?
that's under the Greater Sandusky Partnership. It's led by Mackenzie Spriggs.
Oh, Eric Wubser. His group.
Yeah, he's the director, but I can go into a lot more detail if you want to talk more about it.
Yeah, and maybe the next time where we have a meeting with that group and Eric Webster, I'd like to know about it so I can just hear a little bit more about how they determine that. What kind of committee do they have? How diverse it is?
Right.
Because I did hear from a couple individuals, and I kind of made a joke to Beth when I sat down. I said, "Hey, you missed out? Did you catch the Daz Band?" Right? And I mentioned them at the city commission meeting because, I'm old school. I don't mind dating myself, right? But the Daz Band was a pretty popular band in the late 70s, early 80s, all the way up to probably the late 80s. And I know, or at least I like to think that I know, that there are a lot of people who remember the Daz Band, right? And timing is everything, right? As it relates to planning, as it relates to when you decide to ask that band to play, right? Timing's everything. So if the Daz Band would have been here in the summertime versus the time that they were here, then I'd like to think that there would have been a lot of people out there enjoying a summer day. The other side of that, the flip side of that is, and I just think like this because this is a part of what I do, the communication aspect of it, not about letting the public know, but what's communicated to the public when they hear about somebody like the Daz Band and they come on a day where it might be 45 degrees, wet outside, and folks are going, wait a minute, why are they here now at this time? So, I just like to know as much as I can know so I can help be proactive in terms of sitting down with people who know, well, maybe we've got a few different bands that we're talking about bringing in, but then other folks, I believe in advisory groups too, right? This body votes, right? But I believe in advisory groups are connected to the community in other ways, and they're able to say, you know what, out of those 3 that you're talking about bringing, we believe this would be a good act to bring. You know what I mean? And I equate that to, we talked, Chris and I, about the rec center. Same thing with the rec center. I know that, this is ahead of time. We already had this conversation, but we'll come to it, that we probably should be connecting to our partners who are nonprofits, right? So I want that to be in the forefront of folks' minds, right? That the partners who will be able to chime in as we move closer to being able to finish that, right? We should have Boys and Girls Club. We should have Serving Our Seniors, which I know we do have a relationship with them. We should have some of these organizations that already work with kids. So when it's time to apply for grants, we can apply for those grants, and it looks so much better for us to apply for those grants and get that grant money, right? And then you've got buy-in from the community, and then they feel like, you know what? We matter. The folks in the community who are doing the work with the kids, we matter. They listen to us. So I just want to keep that in our minds as it relates to all these events, right? Because they're wonderful events. I don't want anybody to think that they're not wonderful events. They are. But the more buy-in that we can get, the more folks in the community feel like, you know what? And, I'm going to always feel like this is a great community, but I'm always be working to make it better like you all are, right? So
I would say we have a great line of communication, I think, with our foundations, and we continue to look out for grant opportunities, even with Erie Metro Parks and different organizations there. I did hear the comments about the April with Saturday and having a Saturday in April and the Daz Band playing, and I thought it was like one of the best days in April we've ever had, as far as it wasn't, cold. The only people wearing coats, it seemed like, were a few people, but even the band themselves came on the stage, and it was just, I think I would love to have that help and support of how do we get the word out even better, that when we have a band coming in that has an impact like that we should, how do we better work all together, get the word out to make sure that we do fill even more seats out there for it.
Right. And I don't want the point to be missed as it relates to timing, right? It was great that they came April 6th. Was there an opportunity to say, wait a minute, I think this particular band might be better to have here in July or June or even August?
Can they
right?
still come later on in the summer if they're available? Again?
I mean, that's up to, we tend not to try and do same time in the same year, but, that's something where.
Is that
We
something that
don't usually-
band would say, hey, we'd love to try it again? Or is it something that whoever's organizing this would say, no, we don't want to do it again?
I don't know, it's usually something that you don't book the same, there's so many bands, you don't book the same band the same year, but if you get a good response, then you bring them back for another.
And I just want to say, I was on, I guess it was, I don't know if it was really a committee, but to pick and choose, and, well, I guess to submit bands that we wanted to hear. And Daz Band was the band that I had chose for a summer concert lineup. So I'm not sure how they got to be on April for the Eclipse, but it was originally my perception, my thought that they would be, just for you to know, that they were going to be for a summer concert. Not in April.
How do you get to be involved in these?
Well, I
Committees.
called and asked Mackenzie, could I be on the
It's through
committee
them?
to pick the,
It's through Eric and Mackenzie?
well, it used to be,
And honestly, I thought that was such a good suggestion, and we were looking to have diversity with our Sandusky Festival, that bringing them in April for something where we had such a contingent of people coming from all over that's.
Like, the Eclipse was a once in a lifetime for all of us.
but we,
And so we tried to make sure that we had diversity for that event
But there was other
and book
diversity.
a national act.
There could have been another choice. Dad's Band, I still stand on it. It should have been kept as a summer concert on that list. And we could have probably looked at, you know, some other diversity or diverse bands to play on April 6th. But Dad's Band, like you said, is, if you don't know, you don't know. But it was a very, very special band in that era that would have been supported. Because just looking at the videos, to me, it was, you know, you guys might have and thought it was great. And I rode down there. I was out of town that day, but I did come down there, and it sounded so good. Oh, they did such a great job. But again, the participation that would have been and the support that they would have gotten from our community was lacking because of the temperature, I think.
So you're saying later on, they would have had a bigger crowd?
Oh, man. The Dad's Band?
Now, I appreciate what you said, Sherry, but I wouldn't be interested in trying to bring them back now. I mean, because there are other options, right? And that's all I'm saying. Not like now, it's just to think ahead, right? To say, you know what?
Right.
You know, it's good we brought them, but let's think ahead and let's try to do a better job of knowing exactly who we've got and what that might mean, right? I mean, I've got, you know, some folks who have contacts to folks like, you remember the group DeBarge, right? Well, El DeBarge still performs.
Yep.
And you don't have to have an entire band. You could do an acoustic concert with El
Yep.
DeBarge that probably would cost no more. And if it did cost maybe a little more than the budget that we have for some of these folks. You could get people like El DeBarge, you could get, who knows, and I don't know this for sure because I haven't checked this out, but you could get somebody like India Ari with maybe the help of a Lang Trust or maybe some other trust and maybe some other businesses, right? And I'm not saying that, you know, I'm the type that if I talk about something, I'm willing to roll up my sleeves and do my part to help make it happen, right? So if I bring something to you, I'm willing to do that, right? But I just want us to think about those kind of things. That's all. I wasn't trying to bog us down in this conversation about it, but just to be aware, right? Just to be aware that, wait a minute, maybe we can do something a little bit bigger, right? But I wouldn't be interested in bringing them back in the summer when I know that there are other acts that we can bring.
Well, how would a resident or somebody from the community be on these, like, is it a committee? Because like I said, I knew Mackenzie was working on this concert series, and I called her and asked her, could I come? Like, how do you choose those people to be on those committees that make decisions like our entertainment for the city?
I think it's just, they open a wide net, and whether it's by email or not, even like a sit-in, but just, hey, give us your suggestions. And I mean, you were part of that conversation, so it's.
Well, because I'm in this circle that knows I can call and say, hey, can I be on this committee? But what if it was like the people that were calling me about the April 6th concert with the Dad's Band, calling me, and then they called you, and, you know, they were like, well, we would have wanted to have a voice on it. So I'm just asking.
Well, just like you have suggestions right now, like write them down and send them in, because I think, you know, those are the things where if you don't know that
Yeah.
I know El DeBarge.
You act on what
I know,
you
you know,
don't know.
but if that's an availability, because that's a lot of things, is just checking availability and whether it fits in the cost structure, because we brought in Living Color and Hoobastank and
Sugar Hill Gang.
Sugar Hill Gang, and, you know, depending
Yeah, I remember
on their schedule and routing, and there's a lot of things that do go into it. It's not, you know.
Right. And you're absolutely right. Like, if you don't know, you'll operate with what you do know, right?
Yeah.
The other side of it is, and I mentioned this before, I think there are times when, and we all can chime in on this, certain individuals that we invite to the table to be kind of part of an advisory group, right? Whether you're talking about the rec center or whether you're talking about these events that we're having. You know, what comes to my mind without ever being involved in city commission meetings of this nature where you're talking about events is, you know, I don't generally think of events like this where you bring in music associated with the recreation board. You know who I think of? I think of arts and culture. And so I'm saying that because if I think of arts and culture being associated with those kinds of events, then I would expect to maybe recruit a couple of those folks, and those folks reach out to some other folks who are performers involved in dance, band, or what have you, and they go, wait a minute, wouldn't it be great if we could do this? Maybe we can try that next time. So we collaborate, you know, those minds come together and talk about ways to make it happen. So that's really important to me, so I just,
Well, there's
I didn't want us
always,
to miss
there's
that.
always the term back by popular demand.
Back by popular demand. I like that, Sherry, back by popular demand.
And this is what you're
This man back.
I went down for a little while and I got to hear it.
Yeah, you were a Dad's Man fan.
Now stop it, you don't know how old I am.
It's a tornado drill for Lakeside Marblehead.
Okay, one more thing, can I say? Just about the recreation, are we gonna get back and doing like sporting things in the summer for kids? Like we used to do with the coaches and the teachers and, basketball, football, tennis? By the way, Bernie was the first ones to teach my kids about tennis. I asked them if they had to bring a tennis racket. For tennis.
We're pulling that stuff together, but I would also say, we've said this before, like, the schools have done a lot more programs that address a lot of those sporting things. So, yeah, and a lot of the sports stuff is addressed during,
Remember those little pamphlets, boy, we'd go through there, we'd check them off and get all the kids signed up and all their stuff?
yep, so we're looking forward to.
Times are different now, though, as
Yep.
far as people being interested in that kind of stuff.
Giving out my age here, Sherry.
I'm telling you, I'm your age, so it's okay.
You're still able to umpire, referee for us.
Just another thing, is there anything about a rec center? Nothing going on about rec center?
Nothing new from them, sorry.
No updates at this time. We're still in the process of firming things up as far as scope of work with architect and engineers, and hope to have things ready for the commission meeting in May.
Okay, and I did want to say, there's so much controversy about parking downtown and how we have ample parking for anything and everything. It was packed downtown. And if you just drove around and looked at the license plates, they weren't our license plates. They were out-of-state license plates. I think I got to meet someone or some bodies from every state that came. Flew in last night from Las Vegas, came in yesterday from California, just to see the solar eclipse. You did an awesome job, or whoever did the job, awesome. It's the best I've ever seen downtown. It was great. You did good.
Scotland, I
Yeah.
heard. Somebody from Scotland.
Oh, they were everywhere.
That's our entire department.
I had a good spot.
was at home, and that's the people that stopped on my
And a lot of regulars or people that lived in Sandusky stayed home. Larry even enjoyed it from his backyard. He left his hearing aids, so he's not talking, can't hear.
I was babysitting my grandchildren in Columbus, so I was coming home, and the traffic coming against me was amazing. I had the road to myself coming north. The road coming south was full at 5, 6 o'clock, so they were still coming back by then. It's pretty impressive.
There was all silence, all dark, because right when it was going to hit, I went back up to sit with my husband because he's not walking good. It went all dark, and there was the Holler Building, you know about this, there's the Holler Building, and they were making a video playing music, Pink Floyd, while it was
It was
pitch
so
black. It was so cool.
New Departure Films, if you were looking for it.
Yes, he is such an awesome guy.
All right, anything else?
I move we adjourn.
Second.